idols, it's CC Lesson 3. Welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for clicking on this video. Yo, these emails are pouring in. I haven't done absolutely nothing for just one day in a few weeks now, and today was supposed to be that day, but I got this email. Can't keep the tea to myself. Today's story is a crime. No, I mean it's like literally a crime. We're just gonna jump right in. She said we can call her Izzy. Izzy's from the UK, she's in her mid-30s, and after years and years of putting off this trip that she's always wanted to take to East Asia, she finally decided, fuck it, right now, no more excuses, I'm going to Japan and I'm going to Korea. She was gonna do Japan for a month, and then she was gonna do Korea for a month. So because it was cheaper to fly to Japan, she chose to go to Japan first. And Japan, for the most part, was pretty uneventful. It was super clean, everyone was really nice and really polite and friendly to her. What she means by uneventful, she means like uneventful romantically speaking. Japan was everything she thought it was gonna be. She loved her time in Japan. But she did say for the most part, while she was in Japan, she was mostly like just caught up in the culture shock, being awestruck by all the neon lights and how Japan's living in the future. So because of this, while she was in Japan, she didn't really take the time to explore anything romance whatsoever. Instead, she saved it all for Korea.
And may the odds be ever in your favor.
The main difference was, while she's in Korea, she had decided she was going to try to date. At least go on a date and see what the men here are like. She's heard the stories, we all have by now, but she wanted to experience this for herself, and I totally encourage that. Everything is different for everybody. This story, for example, never heard this shit happen to anybody else before. She thought she would increase her odds by meeting a decent person by avoiding the dating app. She said no Bumble, no Tinder, no Meef, no Hint, nothing. She's gonna do it old school and meet somebody in person. So Izzy decided to get all dressed up, looking good, go out for a night and sit at the bar, see what happens. So it's like late summer, early autumn. So aside from the chilly or breezy nights, she didn't really have a jacket or anything because it's still warm and pretty hot and humid for the most part. So when she went out, she decided to wear this little black Chanel dress with a matching shoulder bag. And it didn't take long before she started to receive some stares and attention. So then she looks around to gauge what's going on around her in the bar, before she realized that she had finished her first drink. And almost before she's ready to even order her second drink, a handsome man approaches. He boldly walked over to her and offered to buy her the next drink and asked her, would you like to drink with me? Only if you're okay with that and only if you're alone. So she describes him as definitely younger than her, like mid to late 20s, so probably like 26, 27. He's wearing black slacks and a white short sleeve button up top. He had a buzz cut and he was a little bit taller than she was. She also made it a point to say that he smelled so good. We're gonna call this dude Busan because woo, son, he's such an asshole. And one thing she noted is he had like a really heavy Korean accent, because typically on her trip so far when she's met people who speak English, like they overpronounce like the loner, walker, roller coaster, like they overpronounce their R's, but he had a really heavy Korean accent still, so she found it kind of hard to understand him. So as they're talking, she asks him like what he's doing in this bar and is he by himself? If so, why? So then he says, oh, you know, my friends actually just left not that long ago. I was heading out going for the exit, but then I saw you and I just had to come over and say something to you.
Hello, my fellow citizens. I am the new president of Riz.
So Izzy's like, smooth, bruv. This man is smooth, man.
Are you not ashamed of yourself?
Now, y'all remember that Izzy is from the UK, right? And it just so happens that Busan has a thing for English accents. He does his best to imitate it. He's like, cheerio, haha, pip, pip.
This is really embarrassing.
She said his attempt at the accent was really bad, so she gave him some pointers. She started to explain like the differences based on region in England, if you're posh, if you're Cockney. So she's asking him like, hey, have you ever been to the UK? Like, what got you so into it? And he's like, oh, I just love 007. I love James Bond movies. He's so smooth. And he said he hopes to go to the UK one day soon. She's like, cool, hit me up if you're ever there. I can show you around. So yeah, the drinks are flowing and they're kind of done with this place, so they decide to walk and head to another bar. This time they want to find a place with a bit more music because they want to dance and actually move a little bit. Y'all, she said he was not a good dancer at all, but because he was so enthusiastic and committed, it made it look like he could dance. So she was having a great time with him. They got some more drinks at this place, but mostly they were focused on dancing. So as the night is rolling on, it's getting late, and she decided, I need to sober up. Let's get some food. So he's like, yeah, that's cool. Let's go for a walk. I know a great place where we can get something to eat. And now that it's late, it's actually a bit breezy, and Izzy's finding herself being a little cold. So then Busan offers her a jacket and throws it over her shoulders, but she doesn't remember seeing this jacket at all throughout the night. Remember, I described what he was wearing. He was wearing black slacks and a white short sleeve button up. No jacket was present. She didn't think much of it at the time, but it is definitely a very important character detail to keep in mind for the reveal later in the story. Why am I doing Obama's hand? What the fuck is this?
I agree with you. I want to hear from you. I love you back. You kind of screwed up my ending, but that's okay.
So yeah, they're walking around and Busan takes her to a kebab place. Koreans love their kebabs. Busan told her to get whatever she want. It was his treat, he'd pay for it. It was funny though because the whole place is full of people who are drunk trying to sober up, and they're also trying to wait out for the trains to start running again so they can go home. So they ate and they walked, and he decided, okay, you know, this was a really good night. It was nice getting to know you. Let me help you get home. And at first she was like, help me get home. I can get home alone, I'm an adult. He's like, no, let me just walk you to the bus stop. She felt kind of silly for assuming he'd be that forward. So she's like, my bad, I just heard all these stories. I've heard and seen how you guys are with foreigners. And he's like, what do you mean how we are with foreigners? Kind of playing dumb. So then she asked him, like, truthfully, why is it that Korean guys see foreigners in such an easy light? And he straight up said, because that's what we see on TV. He said that he thinks girls in the West are like more allowed to own their bodies and they can do what they want without judgment from society. Korean girls, he said, are more timid and shy because they don't want a bad reputation. So he enjoys sleeping with foreigners, but he didn't mean that in this case. He was saying, no, I just wanted to help you get to your bus stop so you can go home.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
So anyway, they get to her bus stop and he actually, true to his word, says, it was nice meeting you. I hope you get home okay. Would it be okay if we went out again, maybe on a date? And she was like, I'm so glad you asked because if you didn't ask, I was gonna ask, and I'm glad you didn't put me in that situation. So they decided to follow each other on Instagram and said, see you soon, I'll be in touch. So she's on the bus ride home, right? Just thinking about how wild is that I just got to Korea like a few days ago. My first night out in a bar and I meet this nice, decent, normal dude. It seems too good to be true. She was definitely very excited to see him again, and before she went to bed that night, she messaged him and said, I hope you sleep well, see you soon, smiley face. So for the next few days, she was out, enjoying her time in Korea, sightseeing, shopping, eating well, and she even made some great friends. Like, I get the vibe that this girl's a bit of an extrovert. The fact that she can just go to a bar by herself and wait for a dude to approach and hang out with him, go to Asia alone and make friends and find people to hang out with. Respect. So yeah, all is well, except for during this whole time, over these next few days, she has not heard back from Busan at all. So she figured, okay, that makes sense. He's ghosting me.
I'm going ghost!
But what's weird is even though they weren't talking, like he didn't respond to her messages at all, he was still watching her stories and he was still leaving likes and hearts on her posts on Instagram. I don't know about y'all, but that annoys me so much. Like, what's the point in not talking to me if you're still gonna watch what I'm doing? Many guys have done that to me, where they will never reply to you. They'll hit you up months, years into the future when you literally forgot who they were, but they will still be watching all of your stories and posts. Make it make sense? So anyway, believe it or not, the next few weeks for her just flew by. She's traveling around Korea. She didn't want to just stay in Seoul. She wanted to see some other cities. Her next stop was gonna be Busan. She's actually getting to that point where her Asia trip is coming to an end. She's got about a week left, and who do you think hit her up? Place your bets. I'm kidding. We all know Busan hit her up. He asked her if she would like to go out on a date with him. Again, because remember, he'd already asked her that, like the last time they met when he walked her to the bus stop. So she was quite hesitant, understandably, and thought to herself,
Fuck no!
why would we be meeting after all this time when you just ghosted me and I'm about to leave next week anyway? So she initially left him on red. She did take her trip down to Busan though. And while she posted about her travels, posted about her KTX experience going down to Busan, he's still watching her stories, and he sent her another message saying, hi, did you see last message? I just love the fact that homie left her on red for the past 3 weeks or so, and the minute she leaves him on red for like a day, now it's a problem. Pali answer me, dedap he. So she replied, she said, you know, it was really nice seeing you, but I don't really see the point in us hanging out again. I leave to go back to England soon. There was so much time we could have spent together, but you literally just stopped talking to me. So it was nice meeting you, but deuces. So then he said he's also in Busan and he would really like to see her. He's so sorry, he's just been really busy. It wasn't intentional, don't misunderstand. Keep in mind, he had time to watch her stories and like her posts, but not enough time to reply to a message.
You ain't got to lie, Craig. You ain't got to lie.
Ain't nobody lying.
The logic isn't logicking. She wasn't buying it, so she did not reply. So another day flew by and he sent her a selfie of him at Haeundae. That is a very popular beach in Busan. She's like, oh shit, this fool is actually in Busan right now. And then the caption he sent along with the selfie was, please meet with me
One more time. One more time.
Don't ask why, but she finally agreed. She said, look, I had a bunch of people that I met and I was able to hang out with in Seoul. I had nobody to hang out with me in Busan. What the hell? It can't hurt to meet as friends. At this point though, she's lost all romantic interest in him. She just wanted to meet up with a friend during the day. So he replied instantly and sent her a location of where and when to meet him. So she looked up the place in a separate Google chat and she was like, damn, this place is bougie? It was an expensive ass bar. And she was like, you know, since he wants to meet during the day, maybe I'll get lucky and there'll be some sort of happy hour. Or maybe this was gonna be his treat and his way of apologizing for ghosting for a few weeks. So she dressed up a bit again, given that this place was bougie. And when she got there, she saw him waiting for her by the entrance to the bar and she hated the fact that he looked so good. He hugged her like they were best friends and oh my god, like long time no see. He asked her how she's been. She's like, I've been great. She's like, how have you been? And before she can answer, he just like urges her inside to honor his reservation. She's like, wait, you made reservations? He said he wanted to show her a good time to make up for not seeing her. So they sat there, they're looking at the menu, they're about to order drinks, and she was like, oh my god, these prices. But at the same time, she had this mindset that, you know what, it's the end of my trip, go out with a bang, ball out, I'm buying a bottle. And even Usun was surprised by the order. So it is worth noting that Izzy works really hard for her money. She's pretty financially comfortable. She says she was lucky and in a fortunate position where she could afford to take off of work for 2 months, travel around Asia, save up a nice amount, and ball out on this trip. So anyway, they sit down at the table and he's gushing over how great she looks. And then he says, you look amazing. I wish you wore that black dress that you wore the first time we met. It went so well with this bracelet. He's like, wow, you remember the bracelet I wore? And he clocked it because it's Hermes? It's Hermes. I don't know how you pronounce that. Is that like that god for delivery or something? Hermes? Somebody tell me in the comments. I'm not bougie enough for that. But apparently it's a really expensive luxury brand. Anyway, in that moment, she was impressed by his recall and attention to detail to remember this Hermes bracelet that she wore a few weeks ago when they met drunkenly in a bar. So they're enjoying this bottle, they're enjoying the view, each other's company. She's like, dude, Korea's lit.
Turn it off. Let's go party. No, turn it off. Sorry.
So they finish this first bottle and then Usung offers to buy another one. She's like, shit, if you buying, I'm drinking. And as you can imagine at this point, she's getting a bit drunk, a wee bit drunk. By the way, they met around 4 p.m. and now it's starting to get dark. Those warm summer nights are fading into longer autumn nights. So yeah, they're drinking the second bottle now. And Usung suddenly compliments her on her social media presence. He says how much he likes her posts. She posts really cool things on her story. He really likes her Instagram feed. Then he has a sudden idea for a really cool photo. He's like, hey, put your Hermes bracelet, put it on the neck of this bottle, put it in between these two bottles. They're playing around with the lighting and they're playing around with the flash and the angles. And she's like, yeah, this is a good idea. This photo's gonna be fire. So this is how he got her to take her bracelet off. He's taking the pictures on his phone and she's like, oh my god, that looks like it's gonna be so good. Send it to me, send it to me. She's so hype about seeing these photos. You know, drinking does tend to make you a bit more open to suggestion. So she's like, oh my god, you're right, this will be such a cool idea. So now that they're done with the photo shoot, she's about to put her bracelet back on, and before she does it, he toasts her and cheers her. And then he started asking all these questions like, do you guys really say cheerio in the UK? Do you really say cheers? Like, when do you do that? So then she shifts her mind to focusing all on explaining the answer to his question. And she didn't even realize that she did not put her bracelet back on. So they decided they were gonna get the bill and go to the next place that Usung had in mind. But before they go, he says, hey, do you wanna go to the bathroom first? She's like, that's a really good idea. He said he has to go too, but he'll let her go first so he can watch their stuff. You know, alcohol floweth through you. So she goes to the bathroom, you know, she freshens up and she's just like, oh, man, travels, exploration. What a good trip this turned out to be. Feeling herself, and she's like really happy in this moment. So she goes back to their table where they were sat and he's gone. Now she doesn't panic at first. She's like, oh, okay, you know, maybe he couldn't hold it. Maybe I was in the bathroom too long and he's in the bathroom now too. I'll just sit here and wait. So poor Izzy sits there and waits for him. 1 minute goes by, 3 minutes goes by, 5 minutes goes by, 10 minutes goes by. She's still waiting. She's like, you know what, maybe there's a queue in the bathroom, making any logical excuse or explanation for why he's not back yet. Eventually, she clocks the fact that none of his stuff is at this table anymore. More importantly, she notices that her bracelet is no longer on the table where it was. So she like looks at her wrist like, no, I didn't put it back on. She checks the table, she checks the floor, she checks the seats, no bracelet. Yes, y'all, this fool stole her Hermes bracelet.
I'm in disbelief. This bitch.
Let me just show y'all how expensive these bracelets are. If you're still here watching this video and you cannot believe the sheer audacity of this man, Spam the comments, F this dude, fuck this dude, what a clown, what a joke. Just like, who does that?
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
And of course, when she realizes this very expensive bracelet of hers is now missing, it's been stolen, sobers right the fuck up. She goes to the bartender, she tries to ask, do you know where the guy was sitting? Do you know where he went? So the bartender's like, oh, maybe he went outside for a smoke. She goes outside, looks around, does not see any sign of this dude. And remember guys, she doesn't have his number or anything. She doesn't have his cacao or a line or a phone number. All she has is Instagram. So she decided to message him there, no response. And while she decided to go back and check to see if he was going to respond, she noticed that he blocked her. She suddenly could not see his profile at all anymore. But y'all, somehow this gets freaking worse. Not only did he leave there with her very expensive bracelet, but he also left before paying the bill.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Keep in mind, it's fair game that she ordered that first bottle because she was like, you know what, I was splurged this one time on some fancy liquor I can't even pronounce, but then he decided to order that same thing, making it seem like it was gonna be his treat. At that point, her Busan budget was fucked. She said she was hurt because that bracelet was like her first luxury splurge on herself. She asked the staff to help her report it as stolen because like they saw this dude, maybe they could help corroborate her story and be like, oh yeah, we can give a description. So they said the police could probably like help see where he is through CCTV, but there's no guarantees, especially since she doesn't even have access to his account, so she can't show them what he looks like. She also doesn't necessarily know if he gave her his real name. No phone number to go on. It's not looking good for our girl Izzy. But then one of the staff, like one of the waiters, had a really good idea that they could look up the same username and at least show the cops what he looks like. She's like, oh my god, thank you so much, because I can't do it, I'm blocked. So when they type in the username, this account is gone. So like, he did more than just block her. He deleted his account.
No, 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 no. Oh no. No, 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 no.
So with that, the cops told her that they'd be in touch if there was a lead, if there was any sort of update. But to this day, she has not heard any updates of her expensive Hermes, is the E silent? She ended up leaving Korea about a week later, and even though she had such a shitty end to her trip, she said the fact that the staff and the police were so like supportive and you could tell they were really trying to help her, it made her feel way better about a really shitty situation. They really tried to comfort her. She said Korea's lit, but if she had to choose one, Korea or Japan, she chooses Japan because nobody stole her f***ing bracelet in Japan. She also said for the ladies, never trust a big butt and a smile. That don't just apply. Apparently beautiful dudes fall under that danger umbrella too. Izzy, I am so sorry this happened to you. And I hope there's some update, something that this dude's been caught at least. If you guys like these dating in Korea story times, binge the videos that are about to pop up on the end screen. Thank you so much for watching. If you did, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Annyeong!